Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here, and welcome to another NIKKE video. And damn, Kilo is thick. And no, I'm not talking about a robot booty. I'm also not talking about the character inside Kilo, because that would be FBI material, but rather about her skill description. She's got shields for days, and actually I think she's going to be a decent character for free-to-play players and also new players, especially newer players starting out around this half anniversary. So we'll break it down and take a look at her skill description. Now, I find this extremely funny because for the half anniversary, you need to log in to get a copy of Kilo, and you also get 3 selection boxes, which allows you to max limit break Kilo, right? And this gives you basically a free unit that you can break the 160 wall with. And someone posted this, that in NIKKE, you gacha for the big booba mommies, and then you get free, cute, and funny characters. And it's exact opposite in Blue Archive, of course. I mean, welcome new senseis from Blue Archive to the world of NIKKE. Anyhow, I also want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video. That's right, Reverse 1999 patch 1.5 is live, and there are lots of new characters and new skins for us. As you can see here, we've got the tennis outfits for both Tooth Fairy and DK, and of course we also have even more husbandos on the way. Now, patch 1.5 is what we call a quote-unquote potentially filler patch, where we just try to clear all of the events and resources and get a lot of these posts ready for the next big patch, which is the limited banner for Ju Niang Z. So it's going to be a really awesome big 1.6 event. So start now, use my link down below and start now in 1.5 and start playing. Collect all these 14 posts from just logging in and all these different rewards to prep yourself for the next big patch. And thank you Reverse 1999 for sponsoring this video. Now, taking a look at Kilo's skill. First of all, she's going to be a Burst 3 Defender type and a machine gun user. Now, the burst is 40 seconds, as it is with pretty much all of the burst 3s, and her burst skill, of course, is going to be shield related and HP scaling. No, actually just HP scaling. But let's start with the first skill, which is passive. So she activates when entering battle and affects herself, creates a shield that is equal to 21.12% of the caster's final max HP continuously. So basically, at the start of the battle, when she enters, she will gain a 21% final max HP shield. And you know what? This is not bad. It's basically a quite decent shield buff that you'll get right off the bat, right? And it doesn't expire until the enemy is able to break it down. And also activates when using the burst skill. Affects self if she is not in nano coating status. And nano coating is basically the shield. She gains that same shield, 21.12% of the final max HP. So when you enter battle, you get a shield, and when using the burst skill, if you don't have a shield, you gain a shield. So you've got that covered. Now, skill 2, another passive, and activates when performing normal attacks for 200 times. So again, she's a machine gun user with an ammo capacity of 300, so she needs to land 200 shots to gain this effect, which recovers shield HP equal to 2.85 of the caster's final HP. Now, I think this part is not so great because 200 shots is quite a lot to land, right? And especially in PvE, if the boss is jumping around, you know, you're gonna have a few shots miss here and there, but that's all right. Recovery shield HP, in this case the 2.85 is kind of insignificant, so we can just ignore that. But the second part looks pretty crazy. She activates when using her burst skills a additional buff if she is not in nano coating status, which is she doesn't have the shield, and effects stacks repeatedly. So this is on the first burst, the next shield HP will be 17.75% bigger, and the next shield after that will be 26.66% times bigger if she doesn't have the shield. Basically, how this works is if you're bursting, right, and you don't have a shield at the beginning of the burst, then that shield, instead of 21.12%, it'll be a bigger shield. Now, we need to see if this is judging from the wording. It looks like it's basically 17.75% of 21.12%, so it's probably 24%. But after all of it stacking up, it will go, this is 43 plus 30, 78% of 21, which pushes it up to about, I would say, 30, close to 36, 37% of the final max HP. Still not a super massive amount, but at least that means if the fight is prolonged and the enemy is quite strong, your shield will get bigger and bigger. But of course, on a 40-second cooldown is unfortunate, because in the story fight, you're probably gonna burst maybe only twice with this character Kilo. And for a lot of the players, newer players starting out, you probably want your damage dealers to be bursting over Kilo. But let's take a look at her burst skill. Activates when in nano coating status, so she needs to have the shield on, and affects all enemies and deals damage equal to 1,150.84% of the attack, which is calculated from 5% of the final max HP. So this is kind of like 2B in a way, right? You're taking the final max HP and then converting that into attack, and then adding a multiplier. I think this is going to be pretty big in terms of the damage. If you take a look at your HP status and your attack status, they're not the same, and it's going to be the final max HP. So you can have, you know, gears affecting that, as well as bond levels. And because we get a free max limit break, the bond levels is going to be maxed basically. And you also gain a max 48% of max HP if you're not in mana coating status. So if your shield is not available, then you get a super big 50% HP buff. Okay, I mean, all right, I think in a way that you know, if you have your shield alive, which means, you know, you're tanking it fine, that means you have the nano coating status, then your final HP gets turned into attack, and that gets turned into an AoE damage. And this is quite good because it's not share damage, in the sense that it's not split among the enemies. It's just an AoE screen wipe. And I actually wonder if this is going to be another version of Scarlet AoE screen wipe. If the damage is significant enough, this is poor man's Scarlet PvP, right? Because in Scarlet team comps, you basically try to gain as much burst chance possible, and letting Scarlet burst 3 just wipe the enemy team. I wonder if this is going to be viable. Basically, free-to-play players get a maximum broken Kilo, and she is just going to be able to wipe the screen with this. Now, if you are not in nano coating status, so your shield is gone, then you get max HP instead. So what we need to see, because does this account for the shield that gets applied when in the burst skill, and now you're in nano coating status when bursting, or is this calculated after? Regardless, you pretty much need to have the shield on, and it'll be very interesting to see if basically your shield can survive when you are using this burst. I don't know if you can effectively land 200 shots during that time to recover some of the HP, and if your your shield is gone, then does it just not recover the shield HP? So we need to do testing, but the screen wipe looks to be somewhat usable in PvP, and of course we don't have a lot of good units in Macilla's Tower, so we can see her being used as a pseudo bruiser that can deal okayish damage with the shield burst screen wipes while offering survivability. But like I said, we need to test things out, and honestly, I think the character design is indeed very cute and funny, and we can even take a look at her animations. So let's take a look on the YouTube channel. Wow, that is thick indeed. That is very thick. And it jiggles too. Alright. Okay, let's fast forward. So we get to see the shield in combat. I'm gonna assume this red transparent thing is the shield. And do we get to see the burst? There we go. And we see the unit inside. And there we go. Very simple and straightforward skill kit, and one that I would say does have some potential. It depends on, you know, how frequent the shield can stay up and how the screen wipe will work. But I know some of you guys will be maximally breaking her instead of Ray regardless. And you know what? Not a bad character for free-to-play and newer players starting out. So let me know your thoughts. Are you gonna be looking forward to using Kilo, and where will be using Kilo? Anyhow, Smiles here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye now.